Hi Demi staff. Emma Darcy has asked me to show you how you can blur videos that you've created. Now, you may want to blur your videos if you have student information in them. So any videos you make, if you're using student work and their names appear, you can blur those out before you share them, which makes sure there's confidentiality, which is brilliant. Now, it is a process that involves using YouTube Studio. You can't do this in Screencastify, you can't do it in Loom. So you're going to have to upload your videos to YouTube Studio. Now, with our Denby account, that is a Google account, you will have an account with YouTube associated to your school account. So it already exists. You'll just have to go to Studio YouTube, type that into Google, it will get you to this screen. Now, what you need to do is obviously upload it. So in the top right, you have Create. If you click on Create, you can upload your video, whether you've created them in Screencastify or Loom or elsewhere, and it will appear on YouTube Studio. It's interesting to note that Screencastify does have a feature where you could automatically do this and it will do it for you. So if you go and click on your videos in your channel will appear here. Now, it's important to note if you have a video with information that is confidential, first thing you should do is make sure you set it to private. That means only you can view it and no one else can access it. Anyway, you'll find the video you'd want to blur. And then when you hover over this, you want to click the pen which says details. So I click on that and it takes you to a place where you can do some editing. Now here you can just change the title, write description and do some other things. But what you want to blur is the editor. So on the left, you can see editor there. You can click on that. Now with this, you can do a few things. You can trim your video some more. You can add music to it. You can add end screens and other such things to your video. But the key thing you want here is to add a blur, which is here. So to add a blur, first of all, you've got to find in your video where you want to add the blur. So you can either use this little thing, drag it across and find the part of the video where you want to blur, or you could just play your video and wait for that moment and pause it. Anyway, you've got to find your place. So in this example, I'm going to blur something right at the beginning. So just as an example, I'm going to blur one of these boxes for you. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is just click the plus. Here we go. Now I want a custom blur. I'm not going to worry about face blurs now. When I click that, a few things happen. First of all, on my video over here, a box appears, which is the blur, and I can drag that about wherever I want. I also have over here a blue line, a blue box appear in my timeline. That's essentially the duration that that blur will appear. In this area, I've got timing, so I can actually type in the timings if I wish. I've got an option to make it a rectangular blur, or as you can see there, an oval blur. And also you have an option here of the behavior of that blur. So it can either track an object, that means it will follow an object around that you've covered for the duration that you set it, or you can fix it. Now in my case, I'm just going to fix this blur position and I'm going to drag it where I want. I want to cover this up. That's where I've got my confidential information. Brilliant. Okay, so I've done that. What I now need to do is perhaps trial and error, make sure it's covering for the right period of time. So here you can click the ends and do it this way. And then through trial and error, you can just press play on your video and think, okay, does that cover it for all the time that I want? You know, maybe it doesn't. Perhaps if I zoom in using this feature, I can make it a bit more accurate. So you can be a bit more detailed there. And basically through trial and error, you will find yourself blurring the correct area. So press and play on that video, it appears then, and it may disappear at the time that you wish. So that is how you add a blur. What I recommend, if you want to add more than one blur in your video, after each blur that you've added, click save. Because I've tried to do multiple blurs in one video and I've had difficulties. So if you do a blur at a time, save it. It will take some time when you click save to process, but it's the way that has worked.